But we can sweep that one aside, even though God himself supposedly came down and talked to people and said this face to face. We can sweep that aside, but the second and third hand information is going to be gospel. That made no sense. And that started some other wheels clicking. And like within 30 minutes of thinking about it, I was like, oh shit, I'm an atheist.
That's interesting. Wow.
So, but things like that, they just, I don't know what to think about it really. I mean, because it seems to me that if what someone is doing or what someone thinks, if it's not hurting other people, who cares? If it doesn't have an adverse effect on society, if it doesn't have an adverse effect on other people, and it doesn't have an adverse effect on me, I don't care.
Yeah.
And as far as with this whole race thing, I don't get it anymore, I guess. That to me, it seems like we should be working towards, bringing everybody up to the same level and not constantly trying to split up and beat down one side over the other. Because
that's not the American way, to be honest. I think the way we are and the way things are makes sense in how we see ourselves, how we're extremely judgmental. Yeah, I think we are fighting against what's natural for us as Americans, to be honest. And I'm glad we finally are. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the internet and just getting out of your comfort zone and not being in a box, an echo chamber. Even though the internet's turning into a goddamn echo chamber too, because you can just get filtered, with everything that you agree with. So it's tough, but
yeah. And even if you don't mean to, you can, because Google, for one, it tracks what you're doing. So if you do a Google News search, it's going to pull the stories based on what you've clicked on before. It's not going to click on just any old news. I mean, that's what they do. So even it's almost unavoidable to stay away from an echo chamber.
Yeah, agree.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and mute our mics and go ahead and put us on a little bit of a break right quick, because I've got some promos I've got to play. But we should be back in just a minute, and maybe we can go to a happier topic of talking about what the hell is up with DC Comics right now.
Okay.
All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and click us on to a break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Ron Reagan, an unabashed atheist, and I'm alarmed by the intrusions of religion into our secular government. That's why I'm asking you to support the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the nation's largest and most effective association of atheists and agnostics, working to keep state and church separate, just like our founding fathers intended. Please support the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today?
The only thing I didn't learn?
Is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Some people think atheists just want to rebel, and we don't want to accept God. We don't want him. I would love to, but we have a country that's 78% Christian. I have family that's very fundamentalist Christian, and I haven't told most of them because I don't want to get rid of them from my life, but they may get rid of them from me. I would love, if there was a God, for him to show himself and to accept it. But for now, there's a community of people who have been harmed from it, and we're creating a community of our own, and we're there for each other. Like, that's the reason we're here together. It's not because we hate anything. It's not that we're here to make a podcast about how much we hate God. It's about, we don't accept this thing that somebody else says, and we may be in problems because of that societally. So we're just going to make our own friend circles.
And we're back. You still with us, Ish?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, man. Yeah, I managed to get those promos from somebody, so I figured I'd go ahead and play them while we were. It'd be a good transition between talking about all the down stuff, and maybe we can talk a little bit about what's going on with DC Comics, man.
Okay. That's a big change.
Yeah, it is. But I don't know about you, but I am a really big comic book fan, and DC was what I've cut my teeth on. I mean, Marvel, they were cool, and they started to become big when I was like 12 or 13. But DC has always been just where my heart's been. But lately, man, some of these movies they've been putting out, a couple of them have just been, I don't know, man.
Embarrassingly bad.
Yeah, that's not to put too fine a point on it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think it started with, who was it? Was it Bruckheimer that directed the Batman and Robin with George Clooney?
Oh yeah.
I think that's where it started going downhill. I mean, because DC was the one that was on top. Marvel couldn't get their crap together to save their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Nolan resurrected Batman pretty well, but they just took too long to jump on the wagon and get more serious films out. When Nolan came out with Batman Begins, which is my favorite one out of them, I said, okay, he's showing what comics can be. Because if you read comics like both of us do, comics are serious. They're very, very serious things written well. Some of the best writing I've read. And then you watch the movies and it's like Fantastic Four, goofy. And it's like all these like cheesy movies as if comics are still for like 12-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And Nolan brought out Batman Begins and took it very serious. But after that, I think they came out with like Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. Wait, was that Ryan Reynolds in that Green Lantern?
It was. He was the wrong person to cast as Hal Jordan. You know who would have been excellent? You know who would have been an excellent Hal Jordan?
Who?
Nathan Fillion.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, have you seen Serenity? Firefly.
Oh no, that's one I.
Okay, if you ever catch Serenity before. Serenity is kind of like the wrap up to the series. I never watched the whole series Firefly, but I watched Serenity. Nathan Fillion, the way that he plays the captain of the ship, Mal Reynolds, that character is who I would see Hal Jordan more as opposed to Ryan Reynolds, who's more of a comic, cut up. Or
it didn't make sense that they went comedy. I get Hal Jordan has like a sharp tongue and he's always joking. That's his thing. I honestly thought he was the wrong Green Lantern. When I heard about it years ago, 2007, it was supposed to be Jon Stewart who was going to be the Green Lantern, and I thought that was good. He's like ex-Marine, and he's a kind of serious guy you would want. The like quick-witted, like that seems so done. Like that's every action movie. It's like, just like I don't take anything serious, but I'm so good-looking and talented, I somehow prevail. That's boring. And that
maybe it's because I'm a fan. Maybe because I'm such a fanboy of this particular actor. But I think if they were to do the Jon Stewart Green Lantern, the only person I could see playing that part is Michael Jai White.
You know what's funny? When they first started to talk about it, Michael Jai White. Well, I don't know because.
He can play the straight lace. I mean, that green character
I think
really
that's my
well.
trouble. Yeah, I think because he's so cool and like karate, like Hal Jordan to me is like, you stiff, like, like Marine who's just like by the books kind of guy. But I thought, because at the time when they talked about it, because I was working in Hollywood at the time, it was right around the time, I don't know if you ever saw this movie, it's such a different genre, Finding Forrester.
Yes.
With Denzel Washington. And I think his name is Derek Luke. They said he was going to be him. And I said, oh, that's great. He can play that kind of guy. I don't know what happened. How come it fell through? But yeah, they were saying he's going to be the Green Lantern. And then it was, almost a decade. Well, not a decade, but, 5, 6, 7 years later. And they went with Hal Jordan. And they just made it so comedy. I was like, haven't they learned from Fantastic Four? Like, you have to take your hero serious. Because we're already watching a movie about a superhero.
Unless it's Deadpool.
Like, it can't be comedic.
He was going...
because everything about his actions, because that's that type of film. But Green Lantern, you want us to take him. Deadpool, nothing serious about it. The way they wrote it, the way they it was great. I mean, they didn't even do it linearly. They made it as comic bookish as they could. But Green Lantern's literally like, oh, you have to take this like a regular action movie, but it's comical. And you have to take him serious, like he's in dire. Like the fact that Deadpool couldn't be killed and he was killing people after, it's like the perfect blend. You know what I mean? It's like it works with comedy. But
I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Suicide Squad, though. I am going to go out and see that one. I don't care if I have to rob a bank to go see it, because it looks like that may be the one DC movie that kind of turns a corner for him. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the previews for it.
I saw, I read the comic, or I tried to when the New 52 came out. I just didn't like it. And it was because it was too, I like dark, especially in the Batman universe. I like dark and I like brooding and taking yourself serious. And that was like, and I maybe taking yourself serious is the wrong way to put it. I felt like that was so... I think it's made for a movie because it's like all the girls with like hot bikini-looking clothes and all the guys are really cool and everyone's quick-witted and Red Robin. Red Robin was another New 52 that bothered me. But I actually think it will make a decent movie because it will be fun. As a comic, though, I just couldn't get into it because I love well-written comics and heavy stories. But that is like surface enough to where I think it can succeed if it's done right.
I'm hoping. I don't know if you've seen the movie yet, the animated yet.
Attack on Arkham.
Yes, Batman is. It's a Batman movie, but Batman is more of an ancillary character for most of it, and it focuses on the Suicide Squad. I think that would be the way that I would go with it. I actually like that.
It was entertaining, but I'm. No, I get why people like that. It was too, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, anything that Zack Snyder's not directing, though, I mean, I feel like that's going to be
Zack
a plus in their favor.
He's the luckiest man in the world. He ruined Watchmen. He just ruined everything.
Even the director's cut of The Watchmen was bad. That's what broke my heart. I mean,
he just doesn't have any talent. He thought, Watchmen is an unfilmable movie, so let me just try and do. I don't know. It took this like. Have you seen the Watchmen? The Watchmen motion comic.
You sent me the link for it, and
that's right.
I've seen the first parts of it.
It's so good. It's so like slow, and obviously you can't make that into a movie. They should have made it into a TV show, but the movie was so like. It took this like dark, gritty place and made it like so CG and so HD and so like I just didn't.
The Watchmen broke my heart because I read that. I love Alan Moore's stuff. Yes. I mean, V for Vendetta. When I first saw the movie version of it was not long after 9/11, so it was still pretty raw. But I went back and watched it a few years later, and I was able to appreciate it more.
Yes. It's great.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know who the director was that did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but that man should have been drug out and shot. I'm sorry. That was awful.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking.
I barely remember it because I remember being so excited and then watching it and being like, I don't know if I saw the ending. I probably did. Back then, I I could never walk out or stop a movie, but I don't remember it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I totally
it
was done.
Yeah, it was not one of my favorites. I mean, but for me, I think
From Hell was surprisingly good.